Today is April 1st. I'm Willie.
And as always, I'm Brian.
And we are Shooting the Shift. And I must say, we're looking pretty official right now.
I don't know what the hell's going on with you, but look at me.
We got these mugs showed up out of nowhere.
These are very official mugs. We just got them in the mail. It must be fans.
And they were filled with the same beer-flavored coffee that we had last week.
Did you get in touch with is it Keurig? Nespresso is the one that gives us,
That's right.
It's the yellow tea.
It's a deal,
I like it.
Yeah, 3 episodes in, we got deals happening already.
Getting sponsored.
No, it
like
is
it.
what
So,
it is.
cheers to you guys. Happy Easter, or whatever, or Sunday.
Is it Easter?
Is it?
All right.
It is Easter.
Yeah.
It's Easter episode.
Okay. Easter episode.
Yeah.
And to start out, we're going to get right into the daily drive, where we discuss, this is our segment where we discuss current events, topics in the car world. And we're going to start with the $2 million Harlmann King SUV, which is basically designed for people who spend $2 million like we spend $2.
I think it's after the market of those who can or maybe cannot afford, the poor people. Basically, it's something affordable. I think $2 million SUV. It looks rather expensive and out of the ordinary, and something. I think that is really gonna. If it doesn't catch your eye, you need to check your eyes because Jesus.
I'm not a huge fan of the looks. It looks like they're trying to go for like a stealth fighter Aventador look, but it kind of ended up looking like a shitty PlayStation 1 game, like Polygon.
Before video games even came into 3D, this is what we're dealing with. So you look at it, and there's just
think about Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, like Polygon.
GoldenEye. Think about GoldenEye.
Correct.
That's exactly the graphics that we're looking at.
So,
but in real life.
Apparently, it has a V10 6.8 liter. They don't have any horsepower figures, but I'm sure it's pretty insane. It should be around, to move this thing, which is 4,500, anywhere between 4,500 to 6,000 pounds, depending on if you get the optional bulletproof armor.
That's standard. I think Cadillac offers the same thing.
Correct. Couple features that you could get, 4K TV, PS4, hi-fi sound system, and depending on the options that you get on a normal car, you could take a $50,000 car up to maybe 80 horsepower fully loaded.
Something like that.
This one, the entry-level price is $2 million, but can go all the way up to $4 million depending on your options.
And at the $4 million mark, I'm not sure if they announced it, but I know for a fact that it does come with about 4 or 5 bodyguards, something like that. So just surround the car, and they do fit inside as well, so you don't have to feed them or anything like that. They're just there for the car.
And it also has a special roadside assistance service where like 20 people show up and push your car.
Correct.
If it breaks down for whatever reason. So that's included in the extra $2 million of options. So.
I also do believe there is an option for the car that if you do need to tow a C-130, just appears out of nowhere with a phone call with a tow hook and decides to just into the air.
They haven't said specifically what the donor vehicle is. I know if you guys have seen or heard about the Rizvani tank, which is another similar type of truck. That one's actually based off of a Jeep Wrangler. This one, they're not saying exactly where the actual chassis is coming from. But it may be. It seems like it might be also from a Jeep Wrangler. Actually,
I want to differ on that because I think it has a little bit of like the Lexus SUV, and I could even say the is it the 4Runner or like the TRD Pro version of the 4Runner, the way it's shaped. Like even if you look at kind of like where the hood itself and more like to the I guess the box or like the inside and even some of the outside, it just looks Toyota-ish. So it might be, considering that that's a very found car manufacturer that they use in Dubai and Saudi Arabia. So I'm gearing towards that.
Well, it's hard to tell because none of the chassis panels are from. I mean, this actually, the funny part is it actually looks like a really bad rendering of a car,
right?
But no, it's the actual truck. So
It's not. I mean, okay, it's not the worst thing we've seen ever, but it's definitely geared towards one type of market.
obviously the interior is
Gaudy.
lavish. I mean, super lavish. So, which is to be expected. This is supposed to be a Dubai market car. So, for those guys who just don't know what to do with their money.
Speaking of expensive, exuberant, and pretty much like another numbers car, like we mentioned before.
Oh, you're getting into the Toyota Prius.
Yes, we're getting into the prices of the world.
All right.
And, things like that. Koenigsegg had to reach out to a Agera owner to see if they can put out a top speed record to kind of, I want to say, not really go on top of the new Bugatti or try and, like, I guess, push the numbers game as far as cars are involved. And I want to say that the results were quite shocking. Okay. And we're talking about the shutting down of a highway to the owner's expense. Okay. And the car achieving a eye-watering 277 miles an hour on a single strip of road. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, as far as I've read on it, this was something that actually Koenigsegg wasn't even looking to do. I don't know why. I would have, but one of their owners approached them right after the car was actually built and said that he wanted to do a top speed run on his new Agera RS. And Koenigsegg said, sure, but we don't really have a road long enough to go for a top speed run. Which to the owner replied, don't worry about that. I will find a stretch of road long enough to shut down and go for a top speed run, which he did. He actually shut down, I think, like 12 or 13 miles of Highway 160 in Nevada. And they went for a top speed run, which the 277 is actually an average of two runs or two passes that they did, right? Which proves that the car can, as Koenigsegg has said before, possibly get to the 300 mile an hour mark. So what I'm sure is going to happen in the next, like sometime this year, is Bugatti is going to run their Chiron Sport faster than that. I believe the last top speed record was held by the Bugatti Veyron Super Sport because they haven't done a top speed run in the Chiron yet.
Right.
So the top speed war continues.
We are definitely seeing I don't know, man. I think the average viewer and the average car owner, if they exceed a speed of 100, it's something to be excited about. I don't know if there's much excitement going 200 plus for first a car enthusiast or something like that. And now we're talking about 300 miles an hour being the norm. There's
a couple things going on when you're going that fast. I mean, I've only been I went 180 something in a NASCAR car. Yeah. In a road car, I think I've only been close to 170, 160 something, 170. There's a lot of things going on at that speed. One is excitement. The other is nervousness, anxiety.
And believe it or not, there's a tertiary one, which is the loosening of all your bowels.
Yeah, the butthole is definitely clenching up a little bit, for sure. Yeah. Add 100 horsepower, 100 miles an hour to that. Yeah, there's poo coming out.
There's definitely a lot of there's minor adjustments to be done, and not when you hit the corner. More like a mile away from the corner, you need to start turning.
Yeah. No, there is no turning. That's the thing, is there is no turning. It's straight. Yeah. You're not turning anywhere. But yeah, I mean, I think amazing achievement. First of all,
it's competition, man. Like, you just Bugatti is like the title holder right now for extremeness as far as speed and
not anymore.
Well,
they were.
Well, they took a nap after the Chiron, so now they're waking up again.
I've been curious as to why they haven't done it. maybe they were waiting for Koenigsegg, which is
someone.
They were waiting for somebody to break their. I mean, they're kind of having to break their own record before this. So maybe this is what they were waiting for. I'm telling you, we will see something this year from the Chiron. So it'll happen.
Are you tired of your car in your driveway? Did you just buy a car and you're kind of tired of it and you wish, man, maybe next month I want to trade it in, but you kind of don't really have the money. Things kind of tight at home. Your wife wants you to buy this bag. It's probably like $5,000 or something like that. It's one of those things.
Do you suffer from an affliction where after about 12 months you want to get rid of your vehicle? Because I do.
Well, we've got a program for you because this is a monthly thing.
Oh.
So
that sounds exciting.
It turns out that there's a little ongoing trend amongst the car manufacturers. Apparently, at some point, all of the manufacturers are going to have a monthly program where you pay a flat fee a month, whether it be $600. You know, I'm sure for like Honda, it'll be the $300, $400 range, all the way down to Porsche's programs of $3,000. You're going to be able to have a car on a monthly basis, and then once the 30 days are up, you'll be able to switch it to whatever other car in that manufacturer's lineup you'd like. In that said fee would be the maintenance of the car, the insurance, and your monthly payment. So for a lot of us, it doesn't matter your financial salary cap or whatever, it's something exciting. So that includes, for right now, BMW, Lincoln. I believe Porsche has a program to that liking. And yeah, I feel that it's going to keep going. Volvo as well has a program as well for that. So flat fee. And as soon as you're tired of a red Lincoln or Porsche in your driveway, just snap your fingers and boom, you get a new one.
Yeah, I mean, I think this works for, you know, people like me who get tired of cars quickly. You can the attractive part of it is a lot of the programs have unlimited miles.
Right.
They include insurance, which if you factor in the insurance cost of owning a lot of these luxury vehicles, it gets up there.
Yeah.
So, you know, and it's very convenient because if you lease a car, for instance, and you go trade it in early, there's typically penalties. There's that you have to pay.
Right.
When you're taking a car into a dealership and getting a new one, you have to switch the insurance. You have to do this. Your price may go up. It may go down.
A lot of hassle.
So this is actually really nice for people who like to have a fixed cost on a monthly basis. You know, for instance, let's say the Porsche one, which is up to $3,000 a month, you know that the most you're ever going to pay is $3,000 a month.
Right.
And it includes your insurance and everything. So it's very easy to manage, you know, the cost of owning these vehicles that way. You don't have to worry about maintenance. You don't have to worry about, you know, tires, brakes, nothing. You know, once you know, and some of them have limitations. I think the Cadillac program, actually, you have to have the car for like 30 days at a time.
Right.
Some of them, I mean, there's not a huge amount of information on all these programs because it's very new.
Yeah,
and
it's
in
a very
fact,
new thing.
They're testing. They're testing it in different markets to see how it goes. But yeah, I mean, it works for me. I like it. It just my only thing would be, at least for me, I'm very particular on like the options that I want on the car, certain things that I want. I don't know if this thing would work for me because I'm pretty picky about certain things that I would like. I like to customize things at times. So that may not work for me, but it'll work for a lot of people.
I think once it gets down to specifics you want in a typical car, then yes, this program probably wouldn't apply to you because I don't think it's going to get to like be that complex. I think it's more for the person who has BMW M3 and possibly hears how great, you know, the M5 or a different model is and says, all right, well, since I'm in this program, I could try it out, and for the month and whatnot, if I get tired of it, go back to the 3, which in traditional leasing programs or lease to buy or even financing, you won't be able to do because you're stuck.
No, yeah, no, for sure.
Definitely.
If you have a Panamera you know, today, and you know you're gonna have a trip next week, and you need an SUV, you can go in and say, hey, I want a Cayenne for the week, and then there you go. The only other thing that, it's like a thing. This is basically, technically, it's a rental car. It's a type of rental car program.
Yeah.
Sometimes rental cars, they got some funky stuff going on in there, and that's the only thing that, like, at least in my car, like, I know it's my germs,
right?
Possibly my wife's at most, but like there's no one else that's in there,
right.
Sneezing, touching stuff, like, and the people that clean cars at Hertz's and Avis's, they do an okay job, but they're not super thorough.
That is why I at all times when I rent a car, I'm an avid car renter, and when I'm on business trips, I take a little small can of Lysol and try and like de-germ everything before I even, dude, you have to.
Yeah.
It smells like someone's old gym sock when you get in there and they just cleaned it. So
yeah. So I mean that would be a con to that whole program.
Right.
There's a lot of pros. There's a few cons for sure.
But we still don't know how that's even going to work. So as far as
I know how the germ thing's going to work.
No, I know that.
I know how that's going to work.
We all know how that's going to work. I'm just saying.
I know how that's going to work.
So I think that really concludes our head-to-head, to be honest. I mean our
wow.
Yeah, I fucked that.
Yeah, no. It's not the head. It's not the head-to-head.
That concludes our daily drive.
And it does not conclude our daily drive because we actually have to talk about the Corvette ZR1, which is actually something. Actually, you know what? We can skip that.
April Fools.
We could skip. We can skip the ZR1. I really don't want to talk about it.
No, we should talk about it. We should talk about it. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Even I know because it's going to make you pretty depressed, and
it's not going to make me
talking
depressed.
About an American car.
Look, here's I'm going to do the intro for this. Are you looking for a budget supercar? Do you like cars that after a few hundred miles, panels will start to fall off, screws will start to fall off, panels will come off, the car may overheat?
All right.
The new Corvette ZR1.
Can I clear the air?
Sure.
Can I clear the air? Okay. This man to my right is feeling some type of way because before in the ZR1 world or even your Z06s, in his Porsche on a straightaway, yes, they'd be kind of like crawling up his butt, but you would be able to manage a bit of a distance between them because when it came to turning, the Corvettes really couldn't manage. They were more straightaway cars. Now, in recent years, they have been able to adjust that with aerodynamics and turning and a lot of sciences as far as the eyes can see in order to compensate for the turning. So it's now becoming a competitive car, even at its price bracket and all that stuff. So,
are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Are you done?
Yeah, sure.
Are we moving on already?
Do you have diarrhea? You all right?
Do we have to keep talking about this car?
All right. Well, at least the specs for them. Jesus. Just because you hate it doesn't mean they hate it.
All right.
We'll
get into it.
Come on, be a man. Grow up.
I don't want to.
Grow up.
So the Corvette ZR1 has 0 to 60 in 2.85 seconds.
Which is impressive.
It goes 0 to 106 seconds flat.
This is tragic.
It does a quarter mile in 10.6 seconds. 134 miles an hour. It has a 6.2 liter supercharged V8, 755 horsepower.
All right, I'm going to take over because this is me being a child. Essentially, for the amount of money, because we discussed this in pre-production, for the amount of money that is targeted for this car and what you're getting for it, there's nothing. There's nothing really that can. There's no GTR. There's no Audi R8. There's really no car, Porsche. There's nothing that can really meet the 700 plus horsepower, the numbers that this car is trying to produce. And I mean, I don't necessarily like them. We don't necessarily like them, but I do believe that this is a car for the person who wants supercar experiences, but at an American price.
And if you're looking to lose the most amount of value in your car in about 5 to 10 years, the Corvette ZR1 is your car. You will pay 120 grand for this car ish, and in 5 to 10 years it'll be worth 12.
I think by the time you turn the key, it'll be 110.
No.
Not 120 grand.
It's not going to hold its value, which is another issue. Like, yes, you're getting a lot of performance for $120,000. It's the best bang for your buck.
Before you keep rambling on how much you hate this car, I think this is really genuinely does conclude our daily drive. And we can move on to something a little bit, I believe, in the exaggeration zone or sector, may I say, our head-to-head.
So today in our head-to-head segment, we have something that I actually love.
To be honest, this is something going to be very eye-opening to our viewers because I don't think everybody knows that these two mammoths exist.
I think they know.
Well, all right.
I have faith.
Let's see. Of course, we're talking about six-wheeled vehicles, and there's not many in the world. There's just two.
There should be.
No, I don't think so.
There should be.
No. Cement trucks are pretty much the
No.
That's about it. Was it 8 wheels?
No.
Yeah, it is 8 wheels actually. Anyway, these are two 6x6 vehicles. They're both pickup trucks, and one of them's made by the Germans.
I don't know what you're picking up. I mean, I know what you're picking up in these trucks, and it's not car. It's not any kind of sand or gravel or.
If there ever was a vehicle made to kind of repave roads, because after it's done going through them, you all need to repave the roads, is these two cars.
People sometimes talk about like stomping on their haters and doing things to their haters.
Right.
This is actually a type of vehicle where you can run them over. So could this be called the running over the haters segment?
Let's try this again. Have you not fit renting a bulldozer into your budget in the deconstruction of your house? Well, we have a car for you.
Are you tired of people trolling your Instagram? The new Mercedes-Benz 6x6.
So one of these vehicles is essentially a G-Wagon, okay, that they've extended, that they originally designed for Israeli army, right? It was the Israeli army?
Yeah, back in the day, yeah.
Okay, so they originally designed this vehicle for the military use and then decided civilians should use it as well. If you don't know what this truck looks like, it is a building in downtown Miami on its side, basically, with 6 wheels. And a lot of power and literally a truck bed that you could fit a jacuzzi into. And I want to say the interior should have Babinga or teak like finishes, because for the price, Jesus.
Yeah, I mean so the head-to-head today is the Mercedes-Benz 6x6 or G63 6x6. Versus the Hennessey Velociraptor, which is based on the Ford Raptor. But, of course, Hennessey,
they're known for... They're the AMG of the Ford world, pretty much.
I watched a video where he explained how this even came up, why he wanted to do this, and it was just because he's like... Somebody asked him if they could do it, and he's like, yeah, I think we could do it. And then they actually started working on it, and then it was like a project prototype type car. He didn't really anticipate he was going to make more than one, and then he got an order, and then he's like, oh shit, we got to build this. And then they started to build it. They got more orders. I mean, the price point, it's basically half the cost of the Mercedes-Benz 6x6.
Of course.
I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, it's
a Ford.
It's a cheaper truck.
That's the point, yeah.
The only thing for me, I think the 6x6 looks like a freaking, it looks menacing. And then there's one particular feature for me that it kind of sells the truck to me. You can deflate and reinflate all 6 tires on the 6x6 in 20 seconds from inside the cabin at the press of a button.
Yeah, that's a little...
So if you're going off-roading and you're like, hey, I'm going to take my $1 million truck out, and I have to get from my house to Whole Foods, I have to traverse a desert, then you have to lower the PSI on the tires, right? Because you're going to go off-roading, and then, hey, you finally get on the road and you want to inflate your tires again. You can do it within 20 seconds.
I'm not going to say both these cars are made for the audience of people who own dualies and say, it's just not, I need more. I need more. Like if you have an F350, 450, or even 550 with the dually setup, and you're like, it's just not enough. I want to take up all 3 or 4 lanes on the highway, and then there you go.
These are true. These are true off-roaders. They just happen, or at least in the Mercedes. For the Mercedes, it happens to be like a quote-unquote status symbol as well. So obviously, this is like the most expensive G63 you could get. I mean, they don't make it anymore. They stopped making it, I think, 2 or 3 years ago.
Right.
But, for the most part, nobody's taking those trucks off-roading. They're just driving around in them. But I think it's pretty cool that the Velociraptor looks a lot nicer than the regular Raptor.
Yeah.
In my view.
I mean, I honestly think that Hennessey just needs to change their overall like campaign for the company and just put, you know how like Nike has Just Do It? Theirs is Just Because.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like why F-150 6 wheels, like 600 horsepower, what? Just because.
The Mercedes 6x6 was also because we can do it type of truck. So it was just like because
what did they do afterwards? They shrunk it back down again and made a 4x4 version of the G-Wagon.
Yeah, which is actually super cool too. So, well, I mean, for the people that couldn't spend $700,000 on a 6x6, they can spend $250,000 on a 4x4 squared.
Okay, well, I know this is supposed to be a head-to-head, but both these cars, these trucks are. For the most part, they're in a league of their own.
Yeah.
As far as sound goes,
G63 all day.
Yes,
Done.
G63 is definitely it has more of a grunt than the whining of a supercharger, which I don't believe the Velociraptor has. It's more of a turbo sound, but they share an equalness as far as the whistling, and there is no one. We've discussed this before. There is no one making a better twin turbo V8 or any turbocharged V8. The sound, and we discussed this in a previous episode about the Hot V Mercedes engine, right? And
that's what gives it that note for the most part. But they got the exhaust note on that engine. I mean, it's legit. You're not gonna get that from. Doesn't matter what you do to that V6 EcoBoost engine. It's not gonna happen. Ford, you should have left that truck as a V8. You messed up.
I will say that now examining the back shots of the Velociraptor, it looked like they got the rear wheel like vent, or I want to say the fender, and just stretched it.
Yeah.
And it just looks like a huge arch. So
yeah,
it might be a rolling commercial for McDonald's.
I'm wondering if they used because of the size. I'm wondering if they used the dually, like they took the dually back off of
it doesn't really, I mean,
because I don't think they would have cut through like.
No, I think to me
that length is from a dually.
Yeah, but I think to me what the truck bed that they utilized was possibly from the standard cab, which is the long bed, and then just happened to do the accent of, because that's cutting right into the actual body itself, and they elongated it a little bit.
I mean, that looks like the dually. That looks like the dually length to me. Looks like it's
right,
the same,
but what you could see is that where the tire is essentially the gap that they need for the actual tire to bounce up and down as far as the fender or the flare, shall I say?
Yeah.
So the flare is kind of distributed along the whole bed instead of like on a dually where it's just around that one wheel. You know, so the truck bed is definitely different. Like I said before, both these trucks to me are unnecessary if you're looking for a truck, but we're obviously talking about two trucks.
Depends what you're asking.
They're 6-figure.
It's
trucks,
pretty necessary to me.
Like,
I mean,
what are you gonna do?
Barring the price?
No. Hold on.
Like if it was all right. So if there was a 6x6, at a more reasonable price than that, like, dude, I'm all in. Yeah.
But why?
Because why not?
Okay, imagine this, right? Home Depot. Some plywood.
Imagine it.
Some plywood.
I'm imagining it.
No, you're not imagining it. No.
The mental picture is glorious right now.
These two trucks are not meant for what they're meant for. They're not trucks. They're luxury items.
We're gonna have to agree to disagree on that.
They're for
no. See, I would actually off-road in that thing.
Where?
Anywhere.
No, we're not in Florida.
No,
not in Florida.
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh, bro.
That would make Florida. You would literally sink a hole through Florida. Like it'll be Okeechobee.
man.
It'll be literally Lake Okeechobee and whatever hole you made.
Where do all the ATVs go out down here?
The hump?
The hump. I'll take that to the hump.
You'll sink in the hump.
No, that won't. No.
Put the Bank of America building in downtown sideways
It
and
won't.
make it move.
It won't. It'll go. It's got 6 wheels.
And it'll sink.
It's got 6 wheels.
Whatever. I guess.
Most of the cars there only have 4. More is as Jeremy Clarkson always says, more is better.
Now when it comes to a huge overweight pickup truck,
Dude,
all right,
it'll do it. It'll do it.
I guess.
I have hope.
It's not a Publix vehicle, that's for sure. You need to park like all the way in the back
I
with
think
the
you can take it.
RVs.
I think you can take it to Publix as well.
Yeah, you have to walk the parking lot. That's for sure because there's no parking space for that thing. Whatever.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take up 2
Essentially,
parking spots.
you're going to have the same issues that any H1 owner has now. So, or whoever the 10 people that have one besides the military.
I don't see the problem. You just take up 2 spaces. Then you're that guy,
You're driving a cube.
but it is what it is.
All right. So, as you can see us rambling on, you might be asking yourself a question, maybe to yourself, the people that are around you. Why exactly are they arguing? So I think that would be proper for our next segment, the but why segment. And I think this is a little interesting one. You think? And when
it's not interesting to me.
I say interesting, but
It's not interesting
This is now going to be.
whatsoever.
This is now going to become a one-sided. But why? Because I need to understand as well. If you are somehow hard of hearing, or if you're sensitive to hearing, you might want to cover your ears because the man to my right is about to go on a rant.
I am going to intro with a little bit of. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of backstory. Okay, so back in 2012, I owned a BMW 535. I had never owned the 911 in my life. I had known about it. I was into cars. I knew about cars, but I wasn't super into Porsches at that particular time in my life. I really hadn't researched them. I didn't know what they were about and anything. So one day, I was at a restaurant in Coral Gables, Florida, called Hillstones. I was having lunch with a friend of mine. We had a couple drinks, okay? And he tells me that he had just bought a new Ferrari and that he missed his 911 and that he really wanted to have a 911 as a daily driver. He said, why don't you come with me and we'll go test drive some cars? And I'm like, okay.
Obviously said no.
Why not? So we go to a dealership down here. I won't say a name because we were inebriated. And
Slightly, not too much.
yeah, I mean, I don't think it was over the legal limit or anything. And so we're looking at cars, whatever, and I see this 911 Black Edition, and I'm like, wow, that's really nice. And then I'm like, I'm gonna test drive it. So I test drive the car. Short version of the story, I end up trading in my car that day, buying that 911 Black Edition. And ever since then, just that test drive alone, I was like, this is the most amazing car I've ever driven in my life.
Hooked.
And ever since then, it's been a love affair with Porsche.
It's just
Yes, I'm wearing a Porsche.
we're warming up. This is a
Silhouette
sentimental.
shirt.
This is a sentimental backstory.
So ever since then, that was my first one. Then I had after that, I ordered the new 991 Carrera S. The car arrived. I drove it for less than 100 miles, and I had an engine failure.
Oh boy!
It was a brand new car. The car had just come out, so there wasn't a lot of parts. Apparently, after I took it to the dealership, they said they had to swap the engine out. Porsche doesn't like to repair engines. They like to replace them so you can see what's going on with the old one, why it failed. I had a piston that failed, basically was misfiring on the engine, and it was just having issues starting. So that they put me in a Panamera for like 2 or 3 months until that engine showed up, and then they replaced it. All was well. Next car after that was a 991 GT3. My car was due to be delivered in I believe, June of 2014 or 2014, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And there was, I'm sure you guys read about it back then, there were some engine fires, 3 GT3s caught on fire because of there was an issue with a rod bolt that would loosen inside the engine, bounce around everywhere, and then eventually would cause a fire inside the engine. So they stopped production of the cars to fix the issue. My car got delayed by about 5 months. Fantastic. So I was super excited about that. Then now
fast forward.
I ordered a 991.2 GT3. I ordered it last July. Mind you, we are in April now. Ordered it last July. I ordered it paint to sample. So if you guys don't know what paint to sample is, it's basically Porsche has their stock colors when you order a car. Usually about, I don't know, 7-8 colors that you can pick from on the configurator website. And then there's paint to sample, which is 4 or 5 pages. I don't know, 100 different colors.
You can literally pick your ear or
no,
and it would paint the sample.
That's what I thought. That's actually not the case. No, paint to sample means you can pick within a list of colors that is not available on the website. It is a lot of colors. It's like 100 and something colors.
Right.
And you can pick from those samples. It's not from a sample that you take and they paint the car.
So tell the ladies and gentlemen that are watching what happened this time.
So paint to sample got delayed. Apparently, a lot of people were doing paint to sample, and Porsche. Apparently, they've been building cars for 3 weeks, and they don't know like how long it takes them to paint a car. When it's paint to sample. So what happens is, in the normal assembly line, the robots that paint the cars have all the colors preloaded in the actual robot itself, right?
Just look at his face.
Whenever a paint to sample car has to be painted, they have to stop that, load the particular paint, and paint the car because it's not part of a stock color. So that delays the production. It elongates the time that it takes to paint the car. But Porsche's been doing this forever, so they should know how long it freaking takes them to do that. So the issue is that this is the second paint to sample delay that they've had. I was supposed to get my car back in December or January. They delayed it again now until May, which I was supposed to pick up the car May 2nd. A week ago, they call me and say, yeah, no, your car's not going to be ready on May 2nd. Mind you, I had planned the trip with my wife. I've taken about 18 days off to go to Germany. I was picking it up in Germany this time. And this is, it was obviously super inconvenient. I still don't know what is going on. I don't know they haven't even confirmed for sure if they can still make it happen or they can't. They basically told me that it may be delayed for up to 16 weeks. So if you ever plan a trip to Germany or to Europe, you know that you plan way in advance. It takes a long time to plan it. And these people just basically, to be honest, the customer service so far with this issue has been horrendous. That was it was Friday. It was 2 weeks ago almost. And they still haven't told me. Nobody's gotten back to me. Nobody's like, hey, this is what's going on. This is what we're going to do for you. Nothing.
So delays is what the but why was for, but I wanted him to
No, the but why is like, how does a car manufacturer who's been building cars for as long as Porsche have these production delays? How does that even happen?
I don't know, man. Like it's not the first time we hear about this stuff. There's like, I understand your pain and what you're going through, but at the end of the day, like everyone, Ferrari had their issues, BMW has their issues now. Everybody kind of has, I understand that you're butthurt about it, but like it is what it is. Like
granted, first world problems for sure. I'm not like, but like you can't have a customer like that turns off a customer when you order in July of last year.
I get it.
Right?
I get it.
And most car manufacturers are like, in 2-3 months you order a car, it's there. Done.
I know.
We're talking about basically, they're saying July now. We're talking about 1 year from the point that I ordered the car, that my order was put in the system. 1 entire year.
Before we get into the extreme details of this, just summarize it. Porsche, get your shit together, all right? And that goes for everybody else. But mainly right now, today, Sunday, Easter, just get your shit together, all right? You guys have been doing this too long to be,
Or just don't get greedy. Don't keep taking all this money for orders for cars that you can't make. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to where my paint to sample was approved, because they actually have to approve it. It's not just given. There's a couple of people from the same dealership that I ordered my car with that and I would be like extra angry about this. They got their paint to sample approved. They picked their color. They're super excited about it. Mm-hmm. And then now they're saying, that ordered their cars around the same time that I did. Imagine you order your car July of last year, you get your paint to sample approved, and now they're telling you like almost a year later, oh, sorry, you're gonna have to pick a normal color.
Oh no, yeah, okay, yeah, no, I see that.
So I mean, there's it's just like, to me, honestly, it's like it turns me off with the brand, because now I'm like, do I ever want to order a car from them, or should I just wait till a car shows up at the dealership and just buy it? Because it really, like, there's no point if you have to wait this long.
The experience, it turns you off from the experience,
for
basically. Sure. So you just be waiting for,
No, and the person that called me, to be honest, was like, she could care less, to be honest. She was just like, oh, yeah, no, sorry. There's production delays. What are the production delays? Well, we don't really know. Don't you work at Porsche? Like, you don't know.
I'm sure she's a foot soldier.
Production delays.
She's a foot soldier.
That's fine,
compared to everybody else.
But she's the one that has to deliver the news, so she needs to.
Guys, listen. This man can go on all day about this, to be honest, and I would know.
Oh, we're gonna have an update on this. Don't you worry about it. We're coming back. We will have an update.
Guys, any questions or suggestions you guys might have for us on the channel? Maybe if you guys want us to go in depth a little bit about some of the topics, please let us know. Like the channel. You can subscribe. Maybe comment below. We do have an Instagram as well. I believe it's Shooting the Shift, right? On Instagram?
Yes.
Shooting the Shift on Instagram. I mean, till next week. We got Bahrain. We got Formula One coming back next week.
That's right.
We got some drama. I'm sure that'll unveil and see if Lewis can get back up there on that horse and set the season's feelings.
It's still early.
See, and
it's all good.
And hopefully,
they're not gonna make that. There's not going to be any computer errors next weekend. So
hopefully, Mr. Porsche over here feels a little bit less butthurt about some news. Maybe some good news next week. It's kind of bumming everybody out with his tirade.
Yeah,
so,
we'll see.
So whatever. He might be wearing like a Ferrari shirt next week or something.
I may just cancel my order.
Oh yeah, yes. So hope everybody has a nice Easter. Whatever that means to you, as far as drinking or eating or even sharing just a moment with the family. And April Fools. I was kidding. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
See you guys next week, all right?
See you next week. Thank you for tuning in.
Take it easy.